Hey all, welcome back. Hope you guys had a good fun in the last week. It was a Ganesh festival and hope you enjoyed. And there was a lot of panic last week. The market was falling like anything. I don't know what is going to happen in this week, but I explained the pullback. If you have seen my past video about the September month expectations, so I clearly mentioned that there is going to be a pullback. So that has happened last week, and let's see what happens this week. I'm expecting a momentum over there. If it get a momentum, there's a good chance that the Nifty is going to have another good run. So anyways, today I'm going to cover a couple of things about which today we are going to discuss mainly about InvITs. I shared a video previously about PGINVIT, and as I mentioned, the pattern shown clearly that there is a breakdown and it is going down. There's a chance that it may go and reach the actual book value. But anyway, that is okay. So whatever it is, so the technical part of the PGINVIT I already explained to you guys, so you can watch that previous video. But today, I'm going to cover about this InvITs and what we expect and what this is all about InvITs. You need to understand the basics of InvITs, and I'll cover the three major InvITs available in the market, so that you'll get some insight about this one. Let's deep dive into those InvITs and understand their nuances. This is Sundar and you are watching Mindful Finance. So today I'm going to deep dive into the InvITs and the different, the major three InvITs in our market. There are like 4 or 5 InvITs. We are not that great. I don't want to touch upon those InvITs, but I'll touch upon the major 3 InvITs, and few are available in the bond format. I'll also touch upon those things while discussing this. But overall, I want to cover the major 3 InvITs. Let's get into that. First of all, what is this InvIT means? The InvIT's full form, first understand this is called Infrastructure Investment Trust. Okay, everything is like trust basis. A governing body is built, and a finance, like a non-banking finance kind of a sector is built, and that body is mainly to support financial support to the entire projects handle or supported or what are the projects they are taken care of. So let's first understand what is the InvITs. It's like a mutual funds. Okay, what happens is a body collects money from the investors like you and me. So it's mostly retailers. So they collect the money. What happens in the mutual fund? You pay like a SIP of 2,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees, and using that money, the small chunks of money goes to the individual stocks, right? Similarly, in InvIT, what happens is this trust or this governing body handles or takes care of different types of portfolio. The portfolio could be electrical powers, road, buildings, apartments, infrastructures, airports. So many are there. So here we are going to cover 2 things. One is electricity, and the second one is infrastructure, which is roads. Okay, these are the 2 InvITs majorly we have, so which we'll discuss. And what is the purpose of this one? So this is something that it gives an opportunity for all the retailers to participate in the growth of certain sectors, to get the profit or to get we cannot buy there are things called REITs, right, where it's like you can't build a big complex or anything, but somebody collects the money from you and they build the apartment or complex, and from that whatever the revenue they're getting as a rent, that will be shared to the investors. Similarly, InvITs are the same thing. You are going to pay money for the infrastructure development, and whatever the revenue they are getting, the profit which they are getting from that, the profits will be shared to the investors. And the main thing is this helps in accessing as I mentioned, you can access the projects which are not or cannot be handled by normal people. You can be a part of bigger projects. So that is the main goal of InvITs. What is the benefits in investing it? First thing is you get a stable return. That is the whole crux of this one. You will get a stable return. Okay. Second one is tax advantages. What is that? What do you mean by tax advantage? You will not be double taxed like a dividends. Like if you get a dividend from the stocks which you are invested, what happens is the company, they cut a certain portion of the tax in the dividend, and you also has to pay tax based on your salary slab. But here what happens is there is no tax held by the trust. So here only the tax is deducted based on your slabs. So there is no double taxation. That is a tax advantage part. What is portfolio diversification? Portfolio diversification, see, when you are investing in the stocks or equities, your exposure to the risk is very high, right? So you need to find other different types of assets. There are different types of assets like bonds, future FD, debt funds, all those things, right? So similarly, you have InvITs. InvITs is also like a stable return like a FD, but the return you will get is more than the FD one. And also you can expect a certain amount of growth in the invested amount, not just the return. Your amount also may grow, okay, might grow to a certain extent, not like growth stocks. Okay, that is the one thing. The first one which we are going to discuss is PGINVIT. PGINVIT is like power grid infra. That is the what is it like? That is the source of the power grid infrastructure is a big firm. It's owned by government, right? There are multiple power grid transmissions are there across all the different states, but not everything is controlled by PGINVIT or handled by PGINVIT. PGINVIT handles a certain project, like 4 or 5 major projects they are handling it. So the PGINVIT focuses on electricity transmission. As I mentioned earlier, right? We are going to focus 2 sectors. One is electricity and the roads. What is the vision? So the main vision is to enhance stakeholder value by owning and managing profitable transmission projects. So as I mentioned, power grid infra has a lot of power transmission, but these folks are focusing only on a specific thing, and we'll cover later. And what is the operational scope here? So they want to manage the transitional lines and substations, contributing to national power grid stability. So majorly they handle the transmission lines, like from the source, the transmission lines carries to retailers. So these transmissions are taken care by them, and the substations also taken care by them. So the more major of the revenue comes from power usages. So PGINVIT handles 5 this interstate transmission systems. Okay, and what is this TBCB means? So there are certain projects which are allocated based on the bidding mechanism, and to make sure this is very transparent, how much money they are investing, all those things. So which is the another one. So through which they get different projects. Okay. And another thing is, as I mentioned, Power Grid Corporation of India, which is the major source for power in India. So Power Grid is across India. Every state has a power grid, and they plays a very crucial role in development and operation of PGINVIT projects. Okay, so major projects are Vemagri Transmission Limited, Purnia Krishnaganj Transmission Limited, Parbati Koldam Transmission Company Limited. So these are 3 major projects they are handling. So Vemagri Transmission is based on the transmission lines which are connected through southern and eastern part of India, and Purnia Krishnaganj Transmission Limited is it improves electricity transmission in mainly the Bihar, where the energy deficit is very high. So this particular project takes care of the Bihar area. And Parbati Koldam Transmission Company, which is generates power through hydroelectric power system, which is a sustainable one across the northern India. Okay. In a high level, PGINVIT is our leading InvIT in the power sector. They are the superstars. There is no doubt about that. Okay. And as per the data, India is something like the 3rd largest country in the world, catering the very largest power supply, power transmission. Okay. In that case, India is still growing. It has a lot of potential to grow in this particular area. So in the future, it's going to be a very high level of demand for power. So for that, they need a very strong base. Okay, so PGINVIT is supporting in creating a stable base for the future power. So the contracts for these companies or the power transmission lines are like minimum from 25 years to 30 years. And because of government initiatives, Power Grid is also focusing on the sustainable energies like windmill, turbines, other things, mainly the renewable sources of energy. And if you see the financial performance, their total revenue is almost like 13,000 million rupees, and EBITDA is very strong. And their dividend distribution is 12 per unit for this financial year, which is already discussed. So till April 2025, we'll be getting 12 rupees for dividend. The second one, which we are going to talk about, is IRB InvIT. IRB InvIT is like mainly focused on the roadways. IRBINFRA is a company. They handle all these projects. Power Grid and the Power Grid InvIT. How InvIT is supporting the Power Grid Corporation. Similarly, IRB Fund helps in developing the IRB InvIT Fund helps in supporting the IRB Infra projects. So there are a lot of projects which is handled by IRB Infra. And for that, the management and support is provided by this particular trust. So they are expert in developing majorly on the road infras. You take any road in India after NHIT, this is the one which is the biggest one. Their focus is on mainly investing in the India highways, because India is a developing nation and there are long way to develop our infrastructure, commute usually to increase the transportation efficiently, right? and the impact is going to be like we are going to get things fast, more things are moved fast, your efficiency is going to increase. So majorly these guys are helping us in improving our India's future growth and development through highways and the roads. Okay, the notable the IRB InvIT projects are Ahmedabad to Vadodara Super Express Tollway, which is 102 kilometer. It's a 6-lane road. And Pathankot Abresta section, which is 102 kilometer stretch connecting the Punjab area. And Tumkur Chitradurga Tollway, which is 114 kilometer section of NH4 in Karnataka. So these are the notable projects. And most of the revenues are coming through these projects through tolls and other things. So IRB InvIT Fund, the last quarter income has grown from 2.23% compared to the last year on year, like 24 Q1 and this Q1. Okay, and the total revenues has increased by 3.06% through because of more traffic and the strategically located this one. The major negative was this quarter the PAT got reduced by 14.85%, which is PAT in the sense profit after tax. And how is the overall performance wise? If you see the historical data, almost like 20% toll revenue has increased in all the projects, and 10% is consistent revenue growth through the toll collections. And it is still increasing because demand is continuously rising. And after COVID, a lot of transport has started and it's opened a lot. The traffic is being high now. The major part is the management. The 90% of the management is well experienced members. The third one I'm going to talk about is INDIGRD Trust. Similar to Power Grid, INDIGRD is also through power transmission, but the difference is this is a private sector and also it is through majorly their focus is on sustainable energy growth. So as I mentioned, they are focusing on the power transmission. Their focus is on renewable energy, and the growth is based on by acquiring new companies and technologies which supports their energy infrastructure. The major projects are Bhadra Sikar Transmission Limited, which is renewable energy from solar parks in Rajasthan, and NRSS Transmission Limited, which is reliable power supply currently in Jammu and Kashmir. So these are the major players to support Jammu and Kashmir power supply. And Parvati Koldam Transmission Company Limited, using hydroelectric power in Himachal Pradesh, checking the solar energy projects across India. Wherever the solar projects are there, they are trying to acquire and trying to improve their peripheral of their assets. Now let's compare all the three InvITs performance. If you see, the revenue growth of PGINVIT is steady, IRB InvIT is moderate, but INDIGRD is aggressive. You can see that the major things, right? Because INDIGRD is aggressive because they are growing from a very low right now. So they just started. Okay, so their growth is going to be more than other sectors because this is just catching up the momentum. Okay, the renewable source of energy is not that much earlier focused, but now going forward, so renewable energy is going to be the top notch in the entire world. So India has to focus more on renewable energies. So in that case, I would say INDIGRD Trust is focused to grow in aggressive fashion. If you see the debt utilization, PGINVIT and IRB are very conservative, but INDIGRD they are very strategic. They are focused, okay, because they know the idea, they know the clarity what they want to do. Their focus is only on solar energy, and where solar energy is very useful, or the renewable energy is very useful, or renewable energy is possible. So those locations has to be find out first, and they have to strategically plan their movement. So they are utilizing the debts properly, and profitability wise, all three are good profit. So other units are there which I didn't touch upon. Most of them are in negative profit. Okay, they are not growing properly. They have a lot of issues in governance, all those things. But this company, these three companies, profitability wise, there is no issue. And your investment has to focus majorly on what type of investor you are. Are you a conservative or you are aggressive? Choose these things based on that one. If you see the future prospects of all these InvITs, so PGINVIT is expanding the transmission lines. Without power, nothing can happen. So they are focusing on the transmission lines, okay, the substations. Even if the renewable source of energy is there, but that energy has to be transmitted to another place. So that transmission is taken care by PGINVIT. IRB InvIT is through infrastructures, highways and roads. That is still developing. Our India is a developing nation. That's a long way to go. And the revenue wise, the toll price, obviously India has a inflation, high inflation. So based on the inflation, this toll also will keep increasing. So the revenue will increase too. The third one, INDIGRD, as I mentioned, they are focusing on the future growth of India in the renewable energy source. What are the risks? So risk is something that we already know. You are already facing. A lot of people are invested in PGINVIT, and the price got fallen from very high. I cannot comment on that part because if you guys are bought on a high level, I cannot do anything. But that's not a problem. Okay, in the long run, almost like 20 years is there the project is going to be. If you are in a long run, if you are going to be in the whatever things you are doing, focus on the long term. Okay, the return you are going to get is very steady income or constant income. So that income can be reinvested. I have made a multiple video on how to invest and get more benefit out of the payment they are paying from the InvITs. Operational risk. If they are not able to manage their operations, the OPM margin has to be in control. Their infra has to be made such a way that after certain price, everything has to be autonomous and the margin has to grow. If that is not growing, then there's a risk in that one. Because these are the things you have to take care of each and every day. Like if anything, power cut, line cut, cable cut, any damage, any natural calamity, all those things happens. And for that, they have to constantly repairing all those things has to be done. So that way their cost may increase during that part. Take an example of water purifier. Every 3 months, 4 months, you have to change the filters and all those things, right? So those kind of expenses keep on coming to this kind of projects. So that is another thing. Third one is a regulatory risk. As I mentioned, regulatory risk is based on the government policies. If any policies changes, anything happens, then that's a risk. Because the price and everything is set by the government. So these companies have to follow those price. So government has to reduce, then they have to reduce. If they want to increase, they want to increase. If they put any tax or anything, then again this company has to face. So all those regulatory risks are there. The roads and infrastructures, there are multiple regulatories are there. So they have to follow it. Accidents are there. So people has to trust their projects. If they don't trust the projects, people may not use the facility, or there may be a lot of risk. Okay. Now, how to invest on these InvITs? Very basic. If you own a demat account, you just need to go and buy in chunks of this one. You buy it whenever you want to park your money from your returns to a stable income. You can move your money to this one, like in a retirement or something. You can move your money to this account so that you get a steady income from this one. And there are things that, as I mentioned, there are bonds also available like NHIT, National Highway Infra Trust, right? So they also is very good, but those are available in bonds, and they have a constraints of limits like how much you can buy minimum or maximum. So that is a kind of things are there. So you have to make sure where you need to invest in, which platform you have to use, and do a thorough research before you are starting your investment, because without research, don't take any risk, or ask your SEBI registered advisor whether is it okay to do it or not. In conclusion, what I would say is InvITs are going to be the major player going forward, because this kind of trusts are important to manage or handle certain projects. And for the developing India, InvITs are very important. They give a proper strategy and guidance, and they handle the transactions in a transparent way, which gives more credibility, which gives more opportunity for the investors to come and invest in their trust. And the third one is the sustainable growth. If you want to be part of India's sustainable growth, this is the right time. You need to be part of this one. This is a very important one. Find your infrastructure based on your goal, your vision. Hope you like this video. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and comment, and don't forget to press the notification icon. Thank you.